Alright, Djokovic continues to prove he's one of the best players in the world right now, despite what the headlines might make you believe. With this win over Taylor Fritz, he's made it to the semifinals of every Grand Slam this year. Not too bad, but maybe not what Djokovic fans are used to either. It sparks a great question. What's been stopping him all year? But today, I want to look at the tactics that went right for him in this US Open quarterfinal. But first, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so I can bring you more tennis tactics. Alright, we're jumping into the final game of the fourth set. Fritz is serving. Novak is up 5-4. And now is probably the perfect time to mention that Novak leads this head-to-head 10-0. It's a stat that might have crossed Taylor's mind. But I want to look at the tactics, so let's break it down. In point 1, Fritz serves T. Djokovic blocks it back deep to Taylor's backhand. Taylor sends this one long. He misses the +1. If anything, this point really just reveals both players' intentions of attacking the backhand side, but that's not news to anyone at this point in the match. Point 2. Here we see a 7-shot rally. Fritz is focused on hitting hard and moving Novak around the court. Novak, on the other hand, is focused on depth. Look how close he's putting these balls to the baseline. All of his shots in this point are past the service line, with 2 of them super close to the baseline, and those are generally pretty tough to handle. Curiously, the 2 that line super close to the baseline, Fritz plays both of those line. This is like exactly opposite of what I generally recommend. Mixing it up, doing something unexpected can win points sometimes, but this is a risky decision-making pattern and it did not pay off here. Point 3. At this point, Taylor misses the first serve, so Djokovic gets a look at the second. He first comes forward, but then he quickly adjusts, backs up, and goes super deep behind the baseline. And then a rally starts, and it lasts 21 shots. Fritz plays a really good point here. He runs a nice isolation targeting Djokovic's backhand, and eventually, Djokovic misses wide. And he looks gassed. This is not the kind of point that Novak wants to be playing late in the fourth set. Point 4. Novak definitely tired right here. And he approaches this point by playing every single ball across court. He's following the rule that the higher percentage shot is generally the one that follows the longest line of the court, that hits into the greatest space. Fritz doesn't really give him anything to attack here, so he just keeps playing deep cross. Fritz is the one to take the risk, and he plays 2 of his shots line. The first one's alright, but the second one's a little suspect. Notice where he is. When he makes contact with this ball, he is outside both the baseline and the sideline. If you watch a lot of highlights, you see players make this shot, but this is not one that you should be counting on. Point 5. This is Novak's first match point, and again, he gets a look at a second serve. Again, we see the super deep return position. And again, this starts a long rally, this one of 19 shots. For the first half of this point, both players are content to run an ad-court isolation. Fritz is the first to mix it up, and he gets a spread going. He starts with his inside-in forehand, pulls Djokovic into the deuce court, and then he goes back to hitting the ad court. Getting Novak on the run like this earns Taylor a short ball. He's able to step inside the baseline and attack even more aggressively. He plays this forehand inside out into the ad court. I think he was hoping to catch Djokovic running the other way, but Djokovic guesses right. However, the increased pace, the increased depth, still forces the air and ends the point. Again, Novak is gassed. This is a pretty good play from Fritz. Point 6. Here, Novak tries to mix it up. He gets another look at a second serve. This time he adjusts his return position, comes closer to the baseline. He's trying to be a little more aggressive here and hopefully avoid a 20-shot rally. The point starts with opening pattern 6-2-3-1, and this is a sequence that really gets the server on the run. After this, Novak continues to make Fritz move by flowing into a 2-1 pattern. He takes his first 2 shots and pushes Fritz over to the edge of the ad court. Then he takes one ball over to the deuce side, making Fritz cover the whole length of the court. Fritz makes the sprint. He gets it. Djokovic plays his next ball backhand cross, spreading the court again, and he also puts his target a little shorter in the court, which makes this even tougher for Fritz to get. But Fritz runs it down. Here, Fritz plays hard cross court, and what he does is he gets his ball into the outer third, so Djokovic actually has to move out of the middle of the court. This movement stresses him out just enough to draw the air. And here you can definitely see some signs of fatigue from Novak Djokovic. Point 7. This has brought us back to deuce. Again, Taylor misses the first serve, Djokovic gets a look at the second, and he positions himself up closer on the baseline again. Even still, this point starts to look like it's going to stretch long. The players get into another ad-court isolation, this point looks like it's going to start going long again. However, Fritz hits this super wide ball. You can see Djokovic is now pulled outside the baseline and the sideline, and he goes for it. He pulls the trigger up the line and misses by inches. This is a shot like Djokovic has made it before. Again, it's kind of a highlight reel shot. He went for it here and missed. So we get to point 8, Taylor's ad. This point is on his racket. Djokovic is showing signs of fatigue. Taylor is ready to step up. He starts strong. We see an opening pattern of 6-3-4 saves. Taylor gives us a strong first serve to Djokovic's backhand. Djokovic returns deep cross. And here, Fritz steps in with an inside-in rip. And this spreads the court and gets Novak on the run. Novak gets there, but he gives up the short ball. Fritz comes in and then he starts a drop shot lob combination. So he plays it short and then he's getting ready to lob it over Djokovic's head. This was a really well executed play, but he missed the lob long. Overall, I think this was a great tactical call. It was great to challenge Djokovic's vertical movement at this stage in the match. And I think that if Taylor would have made this lob, it would have been a really good point for him. But it doesn't go, and now we're at point 9. Back to deuce. We quickly slip into another ad court isolation. Taylor makes his move and he's the first to go line. Now look at this. Because Taylor goes line here, Djokovic can keep playing cross-court balls, but now when he does go cross-court, he's aiming to the open court too. So he's hitting cross-court and getting Fritz on the run. This is one of Djokovic's favorite patterns. So now Djokovic runs a spread. One shot to the deuce side, one to the ad. And this is enough to draw an error from Taylor Fritz on the second shot. Now we've got point 10, add in Djokovic, and Fritz gives us a very tired double fault. Match point. Overall, I think this was a really good match. It was a fun match to watch. Taylor had his chances. He even said so in his post-match interview. I think in a lot of cases he overplayed them. He's trying to be a little too aggressive, forced for things that weren't quite there. I think if he would have been a little more patient at times, Djokovic would have had a harder time slipping into offense. Djokovic did a great job kind of riding the storms. Fritz would get hot. Djokovic overall played really, really smart tennis. And at the end of the day, he won this match the same way he won a lot of matches at the end of his career. He was waiting for his opponent to go line at the wrong time, and then he just played cross, 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 and made him run. Djokovic loves this. And it's really cool to see him still running these patterns at this stage of his career. If you've stuck around this long, I appreciate you watching my breakdown. If you like these kind of tactical analyses about where players hit and why, I've got good news for you. I literally wrote the book on tennis strategy and it's coming out in a few weeks. This book dives deep into the tactics of winning matches, and I'm excited to get it into everyone's hands. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel, I'll keep you updated, and if you're really interested, head on over to my website, tennistactics.com, and sign up for my newsletter. I've got a bunch of good stuff coming out to support my book, and I want you to be the first to know about it. Anyways, until next time, hit your targets. We'll talk soon.